beautiful souls. Thank you for joining me today. I have a special guest, Mr. Hillis Pugh. How are you today?
I am wonderful, with all the eclipse energy, new moon energy, retrograde energy, and all the other energies that people don't talk about, even the human resonance, this magnetic force that's been blessed upon us to assist in the evolution to the human soul, to the new human. So I'm excited about all of it. Just want to lay in
Yeah.
bed.
Yes, indeed. Every day I end up putting in if I looked at it in a matrix term, I really overwork myself. But the work that I do now doesn't feel like work. It's so enjoying. I just feel like the energy comes through me and I get motivated to do this. And next thing you know, I'm 15, 16 hours into it. And I'm like, whew, I gotta go to bed. But it feels so good to work in that momentum and that space, to be able to put your power and your motivation and your intention towards something so great for humanity. I think that's been the biggest shift for me. So I welcome all those energies. I'm like, bring it on, bring it on.
Indeed, indeed. It's this, where we are. I mean, one of the things that I talked about a couple of years ago, and I guess it's important to bring up again, is that as we move through this, what is called ascension, what we label it as ascension, have to remember that it's not just us on an individual level, it's not just us on a collective level, it's not just the planet Earth. It's the entire solar system, it's the entire universe that is moving through this ascension. And what I want people to understand is that the whole Milky Way galaxy is moving to is literally moving to a whole other part of the universe.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I know that's very hard to believe, but I forget what the revolution is. But, just imagine, how fast the Earth is moving
Right.
per second,
Yes.
per hour, and I forget that right now, but just imagine that on a much massive scale as the galaxy, as it moves to a whole other aspect of the universe, because this energy doesn't stay still, it's
Right.
vibratory.
Right, right. And you know what? I mentioned it to someone the other day that as I use my pendulum, probably for the last month for sure, time is really,
Yeah,
but
irrelevant.
yeah, but for the recent past, when I use my pendulum, the my yes and no. So my no is up and back. It was a straight line. And now it's tilted to the left for me, but it's still back and forth as my no. And my yes is still a counterclockwise circle. So I haven't seen that that's changed, but it's like the lineup for my energy is tilted from like a north south to more like a 10 p.m. to like 4 p.m. like on the if you look at it on a clock. And so
Yeah, I feel like the true north has moved.
yeah, that's how I feel. I
True
feel like
north
it's
has moved.
different. And they
Yeah.
talk about the pole shift, and all that kind of stuff too. And I'm like, well, I'm seeing it like right here. Like it's on a very micro scale, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be conscious of it every day. Just like you don't just like a child or with anyone, you don't see or notice the subtle shifts every day unless you take a picture every day. Then you begin to see the
Yeah.
subtle shifts. I'm like, wait, what just happened? So you begin to see the incremental mode shifts as you become more aware of the progress.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about Hillis. What's new for you? What new downloads have you had? They're always
Oh
interesting.
my goodness. And so, we're, in the Delphinus group and in the Healing Disclosures group. And, you know, my missions at night have been secretive,
Yeah.
even unto me. And I'm like, well, how come I don't know? I can't know what's going on. And so I know that part of my journey here is to be guardian of the portals, if you will, guardian of this energy, and to allow for the alignment of the portals that connect not just here on the planet with the nulls and nodes. And when I talk about those, you may want to, anyone who's watching, look up Kion and go to his website where he talks about nodes and nodes and nodes, and how each one has a connector. So every node has a node, meaning an entry point and an exit point that connects the two places on the planet. But it's not just that. The place that I've been really guided to work with is, and that this has been in my heart for such a long time, is the Gate of the Gods, Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, and that space, because Lake Titicaca borders Bolivia and Peru, and the Gate of the Gods is actually in Bolivia, so it's like you cross there. And so it is in that energy, and what we consider extraterrestrial is actually more uh, the path to the new human,
Right.
and opening up that space to allow for lost wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
lost information to come through.
Mm-hmm.
So, which kind of sometimes explains why I'm able to access things that I can access, because, if you watch any of my other interviews, I am like super duper old, being
Yeah.
and being a designer, one of the designers of this planet. And so, which is why I'm always so connected to understanding how things work and how things stream, and the inner workings of everything, like understanding the puzzle. And so that's pretty much where I've been, in really mastering and understanding the pieces of the puzzle and how everything is linked, and just really now discerning and trusting what's here in my inner self, in my heart space, to know, like, okay, this is new, what's next, what's following this. And so just allowing for that time, which is what I'm doing now, of integration.
Yeah, yeah. It's been such a wild ride for me. Last year, whenever a lot of the information downloaded about what the divine mission would be for Delphinus's crew,
Mm.
a lot of it was just such a grand scale. I thought,
Oh yeah, it's
wow,
super.
how is that going to happen? And I was guided, the people that need to be with you, work with you. This is definitely a we mission. They will find you. They will be attracted to your vocal velocity, your frequency. You're going to call them in. And we had gotten 25 or so sites around the world that we have missions in, and definitely Lake Titicaca is one of them, and all of those areas, Peru, Chile, Spain, Greece, all over. And whenever I first got it, I was just in awe, like
Yeah,
thinking of the greater good just in its totality. And
yeah,
then I started encountering beings, wonderful light beings like yourself, that have more of a pinpointed focus and have this great lineage, and for me, I thought, like the earthly me thought, what am what am I actually doing here? Like, what is happening around me? And
Uh,
now time has gone by and I've been given more information. And I now know that I was in Lemuria one. I'm 600 million-year-old soul as well. And I've been, from the blueprinter planet as well. And so now I'm like, oh, because I've done this before.
yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, the grand scheme of all of this, because I said a long time ago to one of my friends is, I kind of just want to see how it all ends. I was like, I don't care about all this metal stuff. I just want to see how it ends. It's like, why do you want to see how it all ends? Because isn't that the purpose? Isn't that the beauty of it all? Understanding the journey, understanding the path, and having fun along the way. But then when you get to the end of it, it's like, yeah, okay.
Now
I
what?
understand why everything fell the way that it fell. And so
Yeah.
it's in that. And it's just how we have to then retrain our minds to really begin to see how everything unfolds, and being a designer, being one who understands the blueprint. You get to see the intricate little pieces that no one
Yeah.
else can
Yeah.
understand, you
Yeah.
know.
And whenever it all kind of started coming back together for me, I was like, this is the epitome of sacred geometry, right? This is
Oh yeah.
where, on the far reaching end of that flower petal, and it came back around to the center.
Yeah.
And now I know why 15, 20, whatever years ago in this existence, some BS happened because it put me right here.
Well, I think, I'm sitting here, and what is interesting about this moment is that has to be expressed is that originally none of us was supposed to come back here.
Right.
We all volunteered to come back because we heard of the takeover. And I'm like, really? Is
Hmm.
this happening right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
After we put all of this and done all of this, and now, so like, okay.
Yeah.
And so, which is why, after Lemuria, after Atlantis, after Egypt, after Babylon, after Sumeria, after all of these great civilizations, I was like, yeah, okay, now we've allowed for the contrast, of the amazing life that was. And we allowed for that contrast to come back into play. And
Yeah.
the reason for us to really understand that, to see that, is to have a greater appreciation, to awaken the hearts,
Yeah.
to allow the hearts to remember, allow the hearts to really transcend in a space of, oh, I understand now. Oh, I get it now. All the suffering was for me to really step into the space of enjoyment. Because
Yeah.
how will we really know what enjoyment was without the contrast of that?
Yeah.
And now, as we move incrementally out of this, all the suffering, all the pain, all the drama, all the trauma, all that stuff, even the karma that people talk about, which I don't believe in anymore,
Hmm. Hmm.
there's no need for any of that. But
Hmm.
there are still people uh, in that space
Yeah.
because they thrive in the energetic contrast.
Hmm. Yeah. And that is a soul evolution that is very individual. And I encounter many people that want to will a soul in their vicinity to have that evolution. And I'm like, but you don't know what their contract is. You don't know it's free will choice. We have to honor that at the end of the day. And for me, I know even 10 years ago, for someone to say, you just have to choose to be happy. I wanted to just throat punch them. I'm like, all these people are doing all this stuff to me, and all these things are happening to me, and all this kind of stuff. And then literally one day I woke up and I thought, I can only control me. I have no control over anyone else. And in this now moment, my eyes are open and I can see. And this was in a very literal sense. My body functions where I can get up and put one foot in front of the other. My mind is intact. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my refrigerator. Like I have my health.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I'm choosing this is enough. And literally, that was the building block that brought me right here because it really made me appreciate the darkness that brought me to that point.
Yeah, it reminds me of a quote that I wrote, I think was it last year or 2 years ago. Uh, oh, geez, and somebody reposted it the other day too. And I may just be paraphrasing here, but I said, darkness raised you, but light is what you are. It was something along those lines.
Yes, yes. And that is rings more and more true every single day. And I also heard the other day, we are among the people here, but we are not of the people here.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to my favorite cartoon. I don't care how old you are. I'm, 46 years old, and to this day I watch cartoons. And my favorite cartoon is the Avatar: The Last Airbender. I freaking love that cartoon. And one of the things that they said is, I believe it may have been in the first season, is that, or maybe in the third season, but in order to serve the world, you have to be of the world and not in the world. And I think that's such an important difference for people to understand. In order to impact change, we have to understand how can we be of the world, how can we be service to it,
Yeah.
and not be a slave or be burdened to it or immersed in it.
Yeah.
It's going back to what I always talk about, is being in a space of neutral. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're neutral, you can just see the various perspectives and
Mm-hmm.
allow for those perspectives to then guide you on what is best for you in the space of truly understanding. I get it. I understand it. This is my flow. This is my energy. This is how I'm supposed to move and how I'm supposed to proceed. And, be cautious, because when you're neutral, you are already in the space of observing. And then
Yeah.
from the space of observing, it's like, I can move in this gentle way and
Yeah.
affect a great change to those who come across my path.
Yeah. And we're at the tail end of the galactic energies, the Arcturian energies that have been coming in since March 23rd. And that has been a real kick in the pants for some people that have been sitting on the sideline. Like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with that right now. I think I'm going to leave that. And Arcturian energy's like, nope, today's the day. We're dealing with this shit right now, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, like they have these little bombs going off in their life, and I'm like, but it makes sense, right? Because this has been building up for a long time, and you've been using that free will choice to ignore the shit out of your shadows. And now, guess
Yeah.
what? The time is up. The jig is up. Like now, you have to really get on the pathway of evolving
Yeah.
or not. Like you have to
Yeah.
make a choice. The gray area is over with. You gotta pick a team.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, spiritual bypassing is done.
Yeah, yeah, like we're not spectators anymore.
No. I
There
mean,
are people that are meant to be spectators. I get that. But if
yeah.
you're like here, in this now moment with us, if you're watching us, it's time to get on the horse and get going. So I love it. I
Yeah.
love it because I really have always been probably from that lineage that we discussed. I'm a motivator. I'm like, no, like this is where we're going. Like let's just get all the players on the same team and let's get moving forward. I'm always wanting to move forward. Where are we taking this? What is ahead of us? How can we elevate humanity? How can we make it easier? How can we make it better? We're
Yeah.
always looking ahead. That's definite Arcturian energy that we're thinking about being proactive so we don't have to be reactive to the problems that people are not
Yeah.
thinking about.
It's interesting you say that, because and maybe this is the Syrian Lemurian energy, or maybe my creator brain, is that I've always been in the space of observing
Mm-hmm.
and been more, and understanding the balance between doing and being. And now definitely been more of the energy observing and watching. And maybe, it's my scientific mind somewhere from another life
Yeah.
being pulled into this moment.
Yeah.
As you allow yourself to truly understand the everything that's happening around you. And this is for everyone, not just, for people who have certain, whatevers. But for those who are watching, I just want you to take a moment in a day, in a week, to begin to observe what's happening around you in your immediate surroundings. And then as you begin to observe what's happening, the energy around you will begin to shift and change. And there are some things that may start looking back at you, because you are in the space of observing. And things may look at you differently, whether if it's your children, or if it's your plants, or if it's your pets. When you allow for the full centeredness, the full awareness of being the observer of your environment, you begin to notice things. That's where we are right now, is now is the time to begin to become to full awareness of not just the body, but also your environment.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about
Oh yeah.
the plant medicine journeys
Oh my God.
because I really think I've never done that. Okay. And I knew before I got healed and activated and all that, like I had a certain amount of ability, but it was capped off,
Mm,
and so
yeah.
it's all a new landscape for me. And I really I want to dive into that. I want to see where that takes me. So give me the one, two, three.
So I've been doing plant medicine for over 9 years. I celebrated my 9 year anniversary in October, November of last year. So a little over 9 years. We're doing ayahuasca, San Pedro, peyote, mushrooms, all the plants, all the sacred plants
Right.
I've done, and even sacred frog medicine, Kambo, which is help detoxify the body. And I tell you, that's a whole episode in itself. Uh,
Part
but
two.
right, exactly. But the reason why I wanted to do this, I felt called to do this because, as I was honing my abilities, especially my psychic mediumship, this is when it kind of started for me. Is I was guided to do this because a dear soul sister of mine, she just came back from Peru and told me about her experience. I'm like, oh my God, I want to try this. I really want to try this. And then meeting someone, who's done it as well, and they went on their journey. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not like, well, each experience in the, I don't know, 100 times I've done it in 9 years, I lost count. That's how many times I've done it. And each experience is different. There's a little bit of soul death and a little bit of rebirth in each experience. There's a little bit of reminder of why I'm here, a little bit of reminder of what your purpose is. It's a little bit of reminder of how to call that into you and how to integrate that into everyday life and to really understand the lessons in each space, in each experience. And most of my ceremonies I can't remember them all. And my very first one, I was shown a golden key. And it was, I don't know how long I was in this, but I went through this spatial journey. So I was guided to this key and telling me that I'm the master of this, and this is your key, and for you to utilize and connect with it. I've never forgotten that in the 9 years of me doing this journey. But in my most recent experience, which was a little over 2 years ago in upstate New York, where I was doing plant medicine almost every day for 5 weeks. Well, yeah, it was maybe about about every day for 5 weeks. No, it was a little something here, a little something there. It wasn't like full on
Right.
ceremony, but I have had full on ceremonies while I was there. And you're talking about being blown apart, being death, ego death, and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah, it was literally I had to put myself back together energetically. I mean,
Hmm.
there's these profound moments and synchronicity where you just allow yourself to be open and to understand what it is and who I am, and each previous experience before that has prepared me for that. Everything is a preparation for you to really begin to unlock yourself on a much higher level, and which allowed me to then start to cultivate mushrooms. And so just having my own little private
Yeah.
ceremony
Yeah.
here to do mushrooms. So yeah, it's just amazing and how things unfold. That
Now, is there a certain type of soul that responds better to this than others? Like, should someone be really, really grounded, or what if they're from the fairy realm and they have trust issues, and then like tell me about
I
that.
honestly, I think this is for everyone. I mean,
Okay.
I have, in the 9 years of doing this, I've encountered many souls, people like myself, and then people on the opposite spectrum of like very what's the word, belligerent, and people who were alcoholics and people who were drug addicts, and all people come to this medicine for many different reasons. And
Right.
so, if you feel the call of the mother to come, then by all means, it's for a reason.
And I sense that it's probably the one thing that can unlock that barrier that people have to really getting real and doing that very raw shadow work that needs to be done. Right?
Yeah, to put it mildly. I mean, I just say when you're ready, you're ready. But just be prepared to allow yourself to surrender. That's
Mhm.
the biggest part, is the space of surrendering.
Yeah. And we're in a culture of control freaks, right? We're in a culture of people that feel like they can literally control everything. And for them to realize they have control over nothing on a normal day, except for themselves, is a task. And so I intuitively just feel like, yeah, you definitely have to be like on that course. You have to really,
Yeah.
really commit yourself to that and know that you're not going to be able to just bug out. Like you buy the ticket, you ride the ride, right?
Yeah, once the medicine is there, it stays with you. There is no backing out.
Right, right.
I mean, it's like, okay, I'm in this for like 10 hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
That's, so yeah.
And I think that's the good and the bad news for some people, right? The ones that have some committal issues that are like, I know this is really good for me, but I'm not comfortable with this feeling, even though I know it's for my highest and best good. So like some of the healings and stuff that I do, I get people just to that point and they start to feel that energy flow and they're
Yeah.
like, what is this chaos inside me? Like I can't handle this. And it literally is people that are really fairy realm people and they have been persecuted for eons,
Oh
and
yeah.
all that. And
Yeah.
so that plays a part in that energetic trigger, and I'm like, just lean into it. This is going to be the thing that helps take care of your soul and piece it back together. Don't run. But that's easier said than done for some folks. So,
Yeah, I mean, definitely when you have past life energy and present life energy and how it can affect you, and that's for a lot of us. And so for people who have that fear, if you will, the only thing is to just allow it to show you what you need to see. And this is with anything. It's not just plant medicine journey or ceremony. It's just when you do your own personal meditations or when you do your own personal ceremonies, it's just in that space of really allowing this is it. This is going to hurt like hell. And I talk about this with my clients because especially with those who I work with who have been sexually abused, which is the majority of the people I work with, because source is like, okay, you can handle these people, just do it. I'm
right,
like, okay.
right,
And so, there's going to be that moment of being uncomfortable.
right.
And we just have to allow that space of being uncomfortable to allow our souls to expand. Because it's just like, when we were teenagers, when we were kids going through growing pains, not that I can remember having physical aches and pains in the body, but it's like that. And so, sometimes expansion and growth is a little bit uncomfortable.
Yes, yes. And that's exactly whenever growth occurs, whenever you have the friction. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I know that the what is on the other side of that feeling is so worth it. And that feeling, it's a feeling. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to break your leg. You lean into it, the more you accept it and open into it, then the more growth you're going to have because we really don't have control over manipulating that energy. Once it starts to come through, it has a life of its own. And
Yeah.
that needs to just be allowed, accepted to do what needs to be done.
Well, I will say this, there is a space, especially after you've been on a few journeys, to where you create a relationship with, and it is that reverence that you have for the medicine and the medicine has for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a great respect for each other. When I say we, I mean the medicine and myself
Mm-hmm.
have that relationship. And so there's in that understanding of, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Okay, this is what's gonna happen. And so it's in that space of it's like, no, it's not. I'm not ready for that. It's like, well, you trust me?
Yeah.
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 But okay, let's see
That's
what
what I was gonna say.
happens.
Yeah, that's a trust. That definitely is some trust that gets built up. I'm sure with time, with experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
another question a lot of my Delphinus members have are how can we learn and communicate with our dolphin and whale friends? Do you have any knowledge to share about that?
So as we were talking prior to coming on the air, I was reminded of something that Abraham Hicks said, and I thought it was very poignant to bring up in this moment. Is that, when we think of our beloved pet and how they evolve and how they grow, and it is through the energy of unconditional love and how love grows anything, how love creates anything, and how love is the great anchor of creation. And so to really understand the aquatic life, really understand the space in which we derive from, is you first have to understand the stages of civilization. With the great civilization, there was a great fall. But in that space of destruction, there was also creation. And so in that space of creation was the knowledge and wisdom, and not just through, the crystals, but through the aquatic life. And that information and wisdom, and what I'm being shown is that yes, this was the collapse, and also with the sonic technology is what I'm hearing. The sonic technology of being guided to show this is
Oh yeah.
the Jedi,
Yeah.
the sonic technology of the Jedi as well, of that space, and how that information, which is one of the reasons why dolphins and whales have sonar
Right.
because of the sonic technology that fell into the ocean.
Right.
And it is through the evolutionary process of them adapting it because they had to survive when the world was 100% water and ice, when the world was completely covered. And so to really understand them, sometimes we have to allow them to speak to you in their language, and understanding that as the collapse of these great civilizations, there was very few of us who were prepared.
Right.
And in that space of preparation, the alchemists, the Jedi's and the alchemists, because there were two. The Jedi's,
Right.
and there were the alchemists or scientists, sources, whatever you want to call them. They knew this was going to occur, so they allowed themselves to become mer people, so they can survive with the technology and help pass on this information when it was allowed to. So they were able to salvage what they could. Of course, being, aquatic, they couldn't maintain or have a long life. So they communed with the dolphins, which is how the dolphins, and whales were imbued with this wisdom with the sonar technology that fell into the ocean. So
Wow.
it was like a merger of all this, them sharing all this. You have to be the keeper, you have to be the keeper of this knowledge, you have to be the keeper of wisdom, and pass it on to those who can help. And so, which is why, every single dolphin has a piece or a piece of this wisdom, or it's not a complete.
Right.
But you have sperm whales, who are the largest mammals on Earth. They have complete knowledge, complete wisdom because of their size. They're able to carry such massive amounts of information, which is why they have that. And for us to communicate with them is we can meet with them through. This is interesting. So what I'm being shown is that have you ever seen images or videos where the sky looks like water? Okay. And this is how we can communicate with them, is by allowing our energetic field or our energetic space ways to travel through the currents and eventually to meet them. And this can be energetic. And it doesn't matter where we are, because we're all connected. We just have
Right.
to find that frequency.
Yeah.
That's how we connect. Because some of us, not me, there were some of us who actually were Mo people.
Hmm.
You know, I was back on Arcturus, but never on Earth. I'm like, I'm old.
Yeah, I was a dolphin at one time whenever I was best friends with Poseidon. So,
Yeah.
so
And the reason how you evolved is because of the great love. Because
yeah,
pets evolve from love. And
right.
I just remember, it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. And part of Delphinus's mission that will start in Costa Rica, but it replicates all over the world, is
Hmm.
dolphin birthing centers.
Yeah.
And when I was first given that download, it never crossed my mind that there would be like any kind of like cages or anything forced or anything. It's all ease and flow, right? And someone asked, well, how is this going to work? How are there going to be dolphins? I said, the dolphins are going to connect with telepathically and energetically. They're going to connect with the moms
Yeah.
before they ever even get there. And they're
Yeah.
going to be waiting for them. And they're going to come in and they're going to assist on their own terms in their own energetic way. There are no nets, there are no traps, there are none of that stuff. This is
Yeah.
definite ease and flow of energy. And
But
so that definitely coincides with that download.
you know what I'm being reminded to share with you is that you have to get, and this is a hot spot for them. You have to get Brazilian Lemurian crystal. Meaning there's a couple of mines in Brazil. And actually I know a couple who who source their crystals, Lemurian crystals from Brazil,
I see.
um, to assist them. And I feel that there, when the time comes, I may be there, but when the time comes, there will be a pair of sperm whales come as well.
Yeah, I have gotten, well, I didn't know about the pair, but I had gotten that there would definitely be whales as well. That would be awesome. I'm so excited. Like some people hear this stuff and they're like, whatever. And I see the potential and I see that miracles happen every day and magic
Yeah,
is real.
yeah,
And if we limit that in our mind talks us out of the magic all day long, every day, right? The mind has been what's been manipulated. I don't listen to my mind much anymore. I listen to my heart and my soul, that intention. And I'm just like, that is just so freaking beautiful. We have to be a part of that. We have to be a part of that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for the greater good.
indeed.
Um, so let's talk about the new Lemurian and new Atlantis. What's your take on that? Do you have any opinions?
You know, this has been an internal conversation that has been building within me in the recent years, and even more so in the past 6, 8 months, because I understand that there's this vision of a physical, but before that physical place is manifested or created, there first has to be the connection or the evolution to the human soul. And this is something I've been talking about when I speak of human, not human, but human, HUEMAN.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this involves the full spectrum of humanity. And when I mean full spectrum, and not just racially or gender. I mean, just in how it encompasses everything, every walk of life, every spectrum. And if we dare say the extraterrestrial blueprint that is within us, and how that is emerges and how that comes to the fruition of the human body, and how the the balance and the respect and understanding of what it is to be human, and
Right.
not what human or humanity has been defined by the collective,
Right.
but really have a true sense of what human is. And this is still something that I am understanding the definition of.
Right.
Yes, we talk about love, peace, happiness, kumbaya. That's the infancy of it. That's just like, how do we get along? And I'm starting to see that in every day, and how we, allow ourselves to get along racially and gender, and, being free from the judgment and the cruelty of the judgments, and things of that nature. I'm seeing aspects of that, not at a place to where it can be fully embraced, because there are people who still believe in the space of separation. And in that space of separation, there can only one or two things can happen. You can have more separation in creating division in the separation, or you can move into what I'm seeing more of, the harmony and truth and understanding. Well, you're just like me, and you're just like me,
Right.
and yeah, just because you look a little different doesn't mean we're not the same. And so it starts with the understanding of what true love is for humanity, true love of self. And I believe once people allow themselves to open up in the heart space, probably take more San Pedro or a couple of mushrooms here or there, to help clear
Yeah.
the learned barriers of hatred and cruelty.
Yeah.
All of that was learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once we clear out all the old programs, that's one of the things that I do. I help people clear out all the old programs and experiences. And so once we clear that out, it really is helps people to resonate with who they really are.
Yeah.
And I might have shared this before, and I can't recall because I've been talking about it so much, a lot with other people, that I forget why I talk about it at.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I want people to understand, and that I just get emotional talking about it, because this sits in the space of compassion and empathy. And I know that you do the same thing that I do. But I want people to understand that every traumatic experience starts out from love. It's like, how is that even possible? What do you mean it starts from love? What do you mean? I know it's impossible to fathom in the human brain, on the human level, the human capacity, from all the programming that we've been indoctrinated with over the years. And so I want everyone to pay close attention to these words, to this experience for the next few minutes. So just imagine you are sitting at a round table, and you're with your soul family. And your soul family has these contracts in front of them, saying that you're going to be my mother, you're going to be my father, you're my grandmother, you're my uncle, you're my brother, you're my cousin, you're going to be whatever, 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 down the line. And each of one of you are going to have a responsibility to help me to remember who I am. And then the one soul contract, and the contract says, "Oh, you have to sexually abuse me. You have to belittle me. You have to, make me feel certain ways." And the soul goes, "What do you mean I have to do this to you? I can't do this to you. I love you. No, I can't." I say, You must do that to help me remember, because you have to know that when we get down there, we won't remember who we are. We won't remember any of this. That's part of the rule for our growth is that we can't remember anything that happened
Right.
here. And so you go back and forth, and the soul finally agrees. And so you incarnate on Earth, go through your life, you get sexually abused by this person, another person robs you, another person beats you up, whatever, all these experiences, you go through them. You go through life, you transition back into your soul self, your soul form, and you see these people and you thank them for fulfilling their obligation to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because of them, they helped you remember your power, your strength, your courage, your confidence, your willfulness.
Right.
They helped you remember who you are.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, that every experience, no matter how traumatic, begins with love.
Yeah. And that is a beautiful way to explain whenever we say it happens for you, it didn't happen to you. Those experiences definitely happen for you. And I think that the evolution of the soul takes us from that matter of thinking where we think that Lemuria and Atlantis was a place. And then we evolve into understanding that it is a piece of consciousness. It is a space we get to where we have unity consciousness and Christ consciousness, and we respect and love all sentient beings, all of God's creation. And that is a timeline in and of itself. And
Yeah.
so I think that's the key to it being real for someone and it being unreal for someone, because they have not evolved to see that it is a heart space, it's a soul space, it's a consciousness. It's not, and it's also in that moment something you can put your finger on. But prior to getting there, you can't put your finger on it because you're not there yet.
No, I mean, heck, I've had my experiences. I'm sure you have too, and a lot of people. When you're in that experience, there's no way to see in or around that. You can't, because you're so immersed in it. And this is what I was speaking of earlier. When you allow yourself to step out of the experience and become that observer, to become neutral, like, oh, okay, that's what that was about. Oh,
Yeah.
geez, I really screwed that one up. Oh,
Yeah.
and he's like, okay, at least I'm happy I have a do-over, or something, because it's just in the imagination of the reimagination of what it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like whenever we talk about stepping off that negative time loop, whenever you're in it, it's like that vortex doesn't allow you to lift your vision up above it. You have to step off of that to be able to see where you've been. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 10 times or 20 times. Source is going to keep bringing that opportunity around for you to step off the crazy ride.
Right, unless you want to be stuck on that roller coaster, and that's
Yeah.
all you.
Yeah. That's free will choice, baby. That's free will choice.
Like, I'm enjoying this roller coaster ride. I like all the loops. I like all the twists and turns. I like all the drop offs. I'm like, oh well, okay.
Yeah. That's
Honestly, there are better ways to have experiences, and that is, personally, my choice would be with plant medicine, because you
yeah.
can really have all of those experiences, and see them from a different perspective, to allow yourself to like, oh, so it was my fault then, huh?
Yeah, yeah, because using our words, which are far, far, far short of the par that needs to be the message that needs to be sent home. When you use this language, this English language or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really relate and resonate with people as well, especially when they're still in that hurt sense, that victim sense, that
But
why
yeah,
did this happen to me sense. That just adds another layer of the scab that's going to have to be debrided off layer whenever they get into the space where they can actually heal.
yeah. So can you stop talking to me right now? I cannot receive anything that you're saying. You're just making me more angry. What are you talking about? I'm trying to help you. I didn't ask for your help, but I want to help anyway. Well, I didn't ask for it. You go sit over there and leave me alone, and let me enjoy what I'm doing right now. Let me enjoy me being in
Yeah.
my soul and
We
whatever.
we all know those people that they just, the comfort is that they expect to live in their pain and they know what to expect because they keep reliving that pain and there's no
Right.
surprises. And so the surprise for me is exciting. But the
Yeah.
surprise for someone else, where all their surprises have been a negative event, they're like, no, I'm done with surprises. I just want to keep knowing the same pain, same misery because I'm familiar with it, because I
Yeah.
know what to expect.
Yeah.
And that's easier in a sense, but it's not the end unless you choose for it to be the end.
Yeah. I mean, and in that space, people can literally die from emotion because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is my pain, my misery, I dealt with it. And some people, and it just goes from them not being shown that there's a better way or there's
Yeah.
a better path. And you can't lead somebody there if they're not ready to. And so, trust me, I've known a few people who I've wanted them to have a better life, wanted them to have something better, but it was not up to me.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, well,
Again,
I'm here. I just raised my hand. I'm here when you're ready.
yeah, I know. I'm here. We see it all the time. Like we want other people, other souls to know that peace, to know that unconditional love, and to get to a place where you can thank all
Yeah.
of the people in your life that brought you to that
To
point
that
and brought
point.
you
Yeah.
through that point. But it's not for everyone. It's just not
No,
for everyone. So
no. But you did talk about something important that really resonated. When you said when we allow ourselves to speak to people in this human or earth language. One of the things that I find fascinating is that when I allow myself to put on or not put on, transition into the soul mental energy facilitator energy that I carry, there's this big, and it could be my mama's system because my mom was always the energy of big compassion and allow myself to speak from that heart of compassion. And the heart language
mhm.
is what pierces the veil anyone to allow them to receive. And that's part of the human, or some people call it the new human, whatever you want to call it, is to speak in that vibration. Though it's understood in terms that can be palpable for us to receive when we speak in the space of, or to speak from the space of compassion, is also, the alternative to what I call galactic languages or light language or light codes. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's in that same vibration and frequency,
Right.
allow that person to receive.
Yeah.
Kind of like the sonar.
Exactly. And even whenever I see in my groups where people are really bouncing some ideas off of each other, but they're doing it in message form, I'm like, let's open up a chat because we need to vocalize this. You need
Yeah.
to hear and be able to feel the resonance of that vibratory speak that's coming through.
Yeah.
That is where the magic happens. And that is where it triggers some people's abilities. It triggers their memory. Sometimes they get those downloads, and it doesn't happen as much. It happens some, but it doesn't happen as much in message form. And so I'm always open to and encouraging people to speak. And as a culture, have we not been encouraged to be quiet? You know, and what has that done? It is a disservice for us. And so we have to exercise that throat chakra and speak our truth. When you recognize truth, that's just one part of it, but then
Yeah.
to share it and speak it and have the healing ability that comes from speaking your truth, that is true freedom right there.
And I'm gonna just challenge you just for a moment here. I want you to restructure your thought, because I know you and a few other people love the word heal or healing as a terminology. Me personally, I only use it in a commercial sense when I'm speaking to other people in this platform. But with one-on-one or with a group of people, I prefer the term nourishing or nourish. As heal or healing implies we're broken,
Mm,
but we're not broken. Then nothing needs to be fixed. We just have to allow for the proper nourishing to come in, whether it's love, compassion, empathy, whatever it is, laughter, for
yeah,
us to be nourished by the energy, for us to shift our perspective a little bit,
right.
allow our perspective to be open. It's like, It makes sense. Or for us to shift out of something, because that's what it will take for us to move into collectively as humanity into the next space. Because yes, it's amazing that individuals are doing this. Individuals are moving at a rapid pace and doing all these things like little bunnies and going off and going here doing their things. It's like, oh, wait a minute. What about the rest of us? And so it's in that space that when we nurture the space, that everything will come together and then solidify through nourishing and not implying that we're broken because
Yeah.
it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you for teaching me that today.
Mm-hmm.
I learn something new every day. And I think my matrix life as a bedside nurse has
Mm-hmm.
definitely guided some of my verbiage, but I learned to drop things all the time that no longer serve me. So I definitely resonate with that. I like that. I love that actually. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, and you reminded me. I have to find it. So a few weeks ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I did a show with my guest co-host about the word matrix, and it's just something I'm gonna have to probably post in the group because the word matrix gets a bad rap because it's all about what we were programmed to think it is about the program or this or that. But when you allow yourself to step out of that, it's about the intricacies of the mother herself, the planet itself, the matrix of the divine plan, the divinity that she holds in every tree, in every leaf, in every seed,
Right.
in every being. And so, the programmed terminology that exists is not the true essence what that is. The universe is a matrix,
Right.
and the earth is a matrix. It's all the sacred geometry. Matrix is sacred geometry.
Mhm.
How it's all intertwined. And people are probably saying, well, no, the matrix is the illusion of what we live. No, because it's just the pure existence that we have in different levels.
Right.
I'm here, my physical, corporeal body, my human body, but in the ether, in the not in the unseen dimensional space, my soul is there, and
Right.
I'm tethered to that, just like you're tethered to your soul. Just like I am sitting in this chair, it also exists somewhere else in another
Right.
form, and
Right.
so it's how all these things exist parallel to each other, and we have to allow ourselves to be free from the vibratory programming of sacred words and sacred terminologies that exist for their purpose. So
Right.
once we unlearn, then we can allow ourselves to open up to receive the true essence of what is.
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So tell us where we can find your lessons and your wisdom.
So you guys can visit taplink.cc/Hillis Pugh. There you'll find, links to me, how to work with me, how to connect with me, to my live weekly podcast, to my social media, to all things me, that make
Perfect. Perfect.
Hillis
I'll have
Hillis.
those links in the description box of this video. Thank you, Hillis. I appreciate this time with you. You have a blessed day, and I know you've blessed many with this video.
Well, thank you so much, Nicole. It's been an amazing time, and I look forward to more.
Yes, we'll have part 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Take
Love it.
care.
You too.
When I want to be grown up, I want to play hockey.
I want to be a DJ or a dancer when I grow up.
Probably be video games designer because I like playing video games.
A dad.
Some grown-ups kind of get boring jobs because maybe they'll make more money with it than they would with jobs that were funner.
If you're doing the job that you do like, then you're not really working any day. You're not really working at all because like it's something that you actually like. It's not something like that you don't like.
I mean, of course, as a kid, I wanted to be in the majors. I wanted to play Major League Baseball or basketball. Of course, like.
I just remember I wanted to be a boss. It didn't matter what kind of boss. I just want to be a boss of someone.
Yeah, I mean, I dreamt about traveling the world. I mean, nobody wants to stay at home all day.
And one day I was just like, I can't do this.
I don't know how to travel with my kids. I don't see a way to go anywhere.
There are times in life I just all of a sudden realize I'm just here. I'm just existing. That I'm not progressing anymore.
I think as kids we have all these amazing dreams. Generally, as people get older, you get caught in that rut of, well, I can't do that, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time freedom. And network marketing actually has fulfilled all of those dreams for me.
I now can see that it's okay to dream and it's okay to have hope for the future. Because really before I just didn't think it was possible.
For me, network marketing has introduced me to a lot of friends that I never would have met otherwise.
What I'm doing now, I'm able to give people hope.
Everything is in your control. Your happiness is in your control. Your future's in your control. How much you make is in your control.
I've traveled to almost every continent around the world. Not only can you go to see a phenomenal area, but you have a purpose. You already have friends in that area.
You have to put the work out there. What you put out there comes back.
It is 100% the best thing that you could ever do. Have a home-based business, but you get to build your dreams. You get to go live your dreams.